Today I'm going to show you how to install your new parts that came in your 508 repair kit. There are a couple tools that you're going to need: a medium-sized Phillips head screwdriver, a medium-sized flathead screwdriver, a 3/8 crescent wrench, and a 1/8 inch Allen wrench. Now yours might be hand driven. I have mine attached to an impact. That's not necessary, but it's just gonna make my job today a little easier. In your repair kit, you should have 2 bags, one with a brass bushing, a replacement nipple, and a left-hand machine screw. In your other bag, you should have another brass bushing, say that 5 times fast, a stainless steel Phillips head, and a stainless steel washer. Over the course of the life of your unit, you are going to be expected to make these repairs, as these parts are wear parts. However, this is not a super hard task to accomplish. Trust me, I am basically mechanically illiterate, so if I can do it, I promise you can do it as well. To simulate you doing this on your own at home with your unit mounted, I will accomplish this task with my unit mounted to a show stand. Step 1, I'm going to remove this Phillips head screw at the top end of this agitator here. Go ahead and take that screw and bushing and set it to the side. Alright, with the screw and bushing removed, my next task is going to be removing the bottom end of this agitator, or detaching it from the fan at the bottom end. The first thing that we need to do is get this nipple out of that hole and up out of our way. So go ahead and just firmly pull it out of that hole. It'll work out pretty easy, and just slide it up the agitator, up and out of your way. The other end of your agitator is wrapped around that brass bushing and that left-hand machine screw that is ran down through your fan. And so you're going to need to work it from the top and the bottom at the same time, maybe, but just get that loop pushed back off of that brass bushing. Go. I was able to do it one-handed while holding a camera. If you are replacing your nipple, go ahead and just take it off your agitator, set your agitator to the side, and throw your old nipple away. Now to get at that left-hand machine screw and brass bushing that was holding the bottom of your agitator, just go ahead and turn the fan slightly to where that screw is exposed through that hole there. Now remember, this is a left-handed screw, so to loosen it, you're going to need to go right. You're going to want 2 hands for this. One hand to hold the fan still as you spin, and obviously the other hand to operate your screwdriver. Now locate the bag with your nipple in it, and it should have your left-handed machine screw and replacement brass bushing, and we'll go ahead and reinstall those into the fan. Go ahead and slide your brass bushing over your left-handed machine screw, just like so, with that lip up at the top. That brass lip at the top of your bushing is not only meant to protect your screw and your agitator from each other, but also it helps that agitator and screw work together as this brass bushing slides up and down that tail there. Okay, now we're going to reinstall our left-handed machine screw. Remember, this is left-handed, so lefty-tighty, righty-loosey. Okay, and so we're going to pivot the fan so that the threaded hole for this screw is facing through the opening there where your nipple was. And you're going to go ahead and install it. I've got my brass bushing and left-handed machine screw reinstalled. My next step is going to be reinstalling the agitator and the nipple. But I will say that doing the brass bushing and left-hand machine screw this way is not going to be super easy for everyone because that opening is not very big. So if you would like another method, I'm going to show you that one real quick. Alright, from down here you can do one of two things to make it a little bit easier to get that left-handed machine screw brass bushing combo installed. You can either take your 1/8 inch Allen wrench and loosen up these set screws. There's 2 of them. And these are your regular old lefty loosey righty tighty. This one's been to a few shows, so it's got a little rust on it. But you loosen these guys up. Sorry, I'm bumping into you, Mr. Camera. Loosen them up so that way the fan is no longer attached to the shaft of this motor. And you can either shove the fan up further, so that way your hole for your left-hand machine screw is closer to that hole, or with those loosened up, make sure they're all the way loose. We're going to shove that fan up enough for us to get at the bolts of the motor, and we'll just go ahead and drop the whole motor out, bring the fan out, and you can do this on the table. I'm going to shove him up out of the way some, just to give us a little bit of room. And like I said, you can work up at top now, or you can get your 3/8 wrench that I showed you at the beginning and loosen up the bolts. Oh, wrong way. Loosen up the bolts on your motor. Go ahead and just take those all the way out. And that'll allow you to pull this motor down and out and your fan off. So I got my mounting nuts removed, and then I just firmly pulled down, and now my fan is loose and I can work on it up here. Whichever method you like, it's up to you. This is probably the easiest. There's a couple extra parts involved, but that's probably the easiest. To reinstall your fan, you're just going to do the complete opposite of what you just did. You're going to put the motor up. You're going to put your fan over the top of the shaft, shove it down enough so that way the motor mounting posts come up through their holes here, and get your whiz nuts back on. You're going to take your 3/8 wrench and tighten those back down. Luckily, I got this handy dandy 3/8 ratchet wrench, which makes the job a whole lot easier. Once you get these guys tightened down, your next and most important step is going to be making sure that your fan is centered down on that shaft coming out of the top of your motor there, in such a way that your fan isn't coming into contact with any part of the base here, and that your brass bushing and your screw are down low enough that they're not coming into contact with the nipple once it gets reinstalled. So just make sure you double check on that. Give it a couple quick spins. Make sure you don't hear anything coming into contact, and you should be good to go. Once you're satisfied with the positioning of the fan, make sure you re-tighten your set screws. Make sure they're good and snug. I know I started the video off with my Allen wrench on an impact, but one of my coworkers needed it, so I'll be using this hand-driven situation for the remainder of the video. Probably like you at home, but it's really not that difficult, honestly. All right, now that our motor is remounted, our fan is reinstalled, our left-handed machine screw and its brass bushing have been installed on the fan, we're going to find our bag with a nipple in it and go ahead and take that nipple right out. Okay, starting from the tail end here, you're going to take the tip of your nipple and pierce it onto that agitator, right? As close to center as you possibly can. And then feed it right into place just like that. This is how it will sit inside of your unit, but as we're installing it, we're going to go ahead and push it past a little bit of ways, just so we have some room to play back here as we're installing our agitator or reinstalling our agitator. I'm going to do my best to do this one-handed. We're going to feed the tail ends of that agitator down into the opening and around that brass bushing. You may have to use your other hand to hold the fan steady. Which I'm likely going to have to do. Give me 1 second. All right, using one hand I held the fan steady, and the other I just fished that hook around the backside of that brass bushing. And now we're going to take our machine screw, brass bushing, and washer, and we're going to reaffix the top end of this agitator down. So go ahead and find your second kit bag, pull out your parts. All right, so this is the proper configuration of your Phillips head machine screw, your brass bushing, and your washer. And the three of those are going to fit right in the tail end, or I guess the top end of your agitator, just like that. There's going to be a little bit of tension on your agitator as it's attached to your fan at the other end. So go ahead and get your brass bushing seated in there. Get the hole lined up with your screw and just get it as finger tight as you possibly can, pushing down. Then you're going to get your Phillips head screwdriver. You're going to go ahead and tighten that thing down. The next and final step to this process is getting your nipple back down into this opening. So I'm just going to feed it over your wire agitator. You might have to scrunch up the bottom a little bit to get it through that opening. Take a little bit of wiggling, a little bit of jiggling, but you'll get it in there. It might take a little bit of working around, but that's what correct looks like. Your hole is completely sealed. And now your agitator has been reinstalled. Your brass bushings have been replaced. Your machine screw has been replaced. Your nipple has been replaced. Your left-hand screw and brass bushing on the bottom has been replaced. Your fan is spinning. It's not coming into contact with anything, and it's not scraping the bottom of that nipple. Thank you for watching. If you have any trouble at all with this process, please feel free to call us. We'll be glad to help you. We are here from Monday through Thursday, 6 a.m. to 4:30. You can reach us at 1-800-458-9129. Thank you. Have a great day.